Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in Chronicles of Darkness Vampire the Requiem, Requiem for London. The last time we left Charlie, she had been chased out of the sewers by a large, angry mob of violent and ravenous revenants. And then, not long after, hopped into a van with a Carthian that she'd never met before. And a revenant whom may very well be possessed by one of the owls.
Well, you phrase it like that.
Her guardian, Dr. Isabella Marrow, was not best pleased by this development, to say the least. Although her conversation with the likely possessed revenant was, oddly enough, surprisingly pleasant. And it is after that phone call where we start our scene as the van is beginning to approach its destination. I assume Charlie is mulling over her very interesting life choices.
Well, when you phrase it like that. So, Charlie will just be sitting in the car, just vibing. If possible, she'll kind of look out the window and try to keep. She wants to start reading the street signs if there are windows that she can look out of and try to get a general idea of what direction they're headed.
Not in the back of the van, no.
Not even through the front windshield.
You can look through the front windshield. The back of the van is sort of sealed off from the rest from the front. But it has a small oh no, I'm actually looking at vans right now and I'm like, oh no. No, it's just completely sealed off.
Okay, I am in the back of a van with strangers and an owl. Wow.
There's that window that's there is a window that could be sort of slid open, but it has this sort of metal covering over it right now.
No, I'm not gonna start touching stuff. That's not entirely wise.
Oh no, I meant it was on the other side. In theory, the driver could do it, but you'd have to basically bust open with
the vigor I don't have.
With the vigor you don't have.
Because I thought I was going to be a thieving sorcerer.
Oof.
It's fine. Everything is fine. So Charlie will kind of look around, realize that oh, hey, there are no windows. I'm essentially locked in a van.
Mm-hmm. You're locked in a van.
And she'll just kind of give a small nod to herself, yep, okay, this has happened. Probably didn't think this one through. And she'll turn to the Jade Lady, who I'm assuming is in the back with her.
Yeah. You see the Jade lady. The driver you don't see, at least right now.
And she'll go, so, how long has this, and she'll gesture to like her own eyes, been happening for you?
She looks at you with those rather piercing eyes and replies, "It only became obvious within the past 24 hours."
That's honestly pretty good. Like, I feel like that's a check in the pro department. Um, do you remember anything weird happening before? Or did you just wake up one night and, oh dear, I'm an owl?
I rarely look at myself in the mirror.
Fair
The
enough.
only But to answer your question, we did receive a visitor over the past, well, they had been with us for about a week or two. I believe your colleague knew him, or he knew your colleague. A Nosferatu. Not the first time we ran into one in the sewers. Lanky corpse-like thing. Came to us bearing words of hope and salvation and started tearing those things Baneforth forced out of us from a few months ago.
Was he just tearing them out, or was he destroying them?
He would physically tear them out of somebody's chest. I don't know if they died. I'm not sure if things like that can die.
I I don't know the answer to that either. Maybe once we get where we're going, we'll find somebody a little more experienced.
That is my intention.
You you said that the Ordo had declared war. When did all that happen?
We keep an eye on the surface, and we have more than a few kindred who either come from our stock or are sympathetic to our cause. A sanctified assaulted the Jakul barely a few nights ago. From what I have heard, the Order are responding to a threat from Our kind's most holy church. Also, that is the word beneath the streets.
That would explain a lot, actually.
As someone who is accustomed to conflict but outside of this war, I would be most concerned for the Church of Longinus. They appear to have made many enemies and few friends in a time of great instability. I was hoping I could have used that stability to earn ourselves a place at whomever won, but it appears that is out the window now.
So Charlie will kind of sigh and push some hair out of her face and go, "Yeah, there's a lot of instability right now. It seems no matter where you go, there's some sort of dumpster fire that people are throwing gasoline on."
I find that we are defined by our capacity to shed blood as well as take it. In my experience, all one needs is the slightest provocation for kindred to start feuding against each other.
Uh, as much as I wish I could disagree with you, yeah, I think you're right. I It's funny actually. Maybe not even a month ago, I was arguing that we're not monsters, but oh well, I guess I've been wrong before.
I suppose that depends what you believe a monster to be, and if it is a bad thing at all.
I I really don't know, if I'm being completely honest with you. I don't think that type of debate is a luxury we have right now.
And yet, we may end up having it, I suspect.
I mean, yeah, I guess at the end of the day we're going to have that type of conversation. We being, of course, the greater collective. I don't particularly think you and I are going to have to get down to philosophical fisticuffs or anything anytime soon.
I doubt it. But while I have been forced to leave my people behind, I'm not done serving them just yet.
What are you going to do?
The only thing a sewer rat can do, I'm going to beg.
Are and I genuinely mean no offense by this question, but do if you were given the opportunity to leave the sewers, all of y'all, the others included, would you stay in the sewers? I guess, is that a choice or a matter of necessity for y'all?
Many would like to believe we are in the sewers because they have put us there. In reality, we are there just as much for our own reasons as for the reasons of those who would like us to be there in the first place. When I first changed, it did not take me long to realize that I was a threat to those above ground. It was safer for everyone if I left them behind and remained beneath them. Although I suppose the same could be said of many kindred. But it is twice so for my kind.
How obviously there's so much violence going on right now, but before that, how did you guys maintain yourselves? There's so many of you, and you definitely have a little more, I don't, let's call it restrictive dietary needs.
Blood farms, by and large. It used to be easier. There didn't used to be this many of us. Once, none of us ever had to travel above ground at all if we did not wish to. Many of us did, for our own reasons, of course. We still had business. But we never truly needed to. But now we have little choice. There are too many bodies and not enough blood to share. Perhaps that is why they chased me down so virulently.
Maybe.
The hunger takes everything from our kind in the end.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
She. Can you make a wit sympathy roll?
With sympathy? Okay.
Yeah.
With sympathy. No.
Just no.
Just no.
Just no. Do you want to make a dramatic failure?
Fuck it, sure.
Okay, well, I mean... Yeah, yeah, you're pretty, yeah, this conversation seems incredibly vapid and empty and devoid of any real feeling or emotion. Seems to lend credence to the idea that she's possessed. Life choices.
Life choices. Yeah. Yeah, Charlie will kind of. She already kind of had one of her patented bad ideas churning in her head and kind of stopped paying attention anyway. So, like, as she kind of comes to this now obvious realization that, wow, this person really is possessed, she'll just kind of let the conversation taper off. And like if the Jade Lady keeps trying to talk, she'll just kind of do like the polite, uh-huh, yeah, mm-hmm. Like try to be polite about it, but like also she's like, yeah, no, maybe it's time to start thinking of like escape plans.
Jade Lady sort of. Actually, I'll have her actually roll. Because you had to roll, so she'll need to roll. She actually succeeds. She seems to notice your shift in mood, and at some point, as you taper off a conversation, just sort of raises an eyebrow curiously at you.
Is there something on my face?
Other than sewer grime, and far too many piercings for me to be comfortable looking at, no.
They're an aesthetic.
Her eyes look upwards and her head kind of turns to the side in doubt or exasperation.
She's doubting the fact that it's an aesthetic?
She's doubting its appeal.
Charlie will just kind of like she'll do that thing where like with the piercings in her lips, she'll kind of like fiddle with them with her tongue and kind of wiggle them a little. Just to kind of like weird her out just a little.
There's that moment where the bottom lids of her eyes narrow slightly. Yeah, right. Why were you in the sewers? Why did you come there?
Well, Jana was down there because she wanted to check up on y'all. And Damien and Isabel were down there because I was down there. And I was down there because so you know how Joshua's blood hunting now and everything's kind of falling apart? Well, we had to we're all looking for different forms of employment, and I thought maybe there might be something interesting enough in the sewers to warrant investigating.
You clearly have not heard the stories of those whom rest inside the sewers.
Not really, no. I gotta say, this is not what I was expecting, but we did find a dog, and it was a real cute dog.
Probably one of our vessels.
I think so. Obviously not the animal person that my friends are. I don't know. Seemed nice enough.
Well, you'd survive her longer down here than them, then.
She'll just kind of shrug and like kind of start bouncing her leg a little. She's starting to get a little anxious.
Her eyes linger on it for a moment. could swear she looks very hungry, which is not abnormal for a revenant. They generally always do. When you say alternate means of ultimate forms of employment, what do you mean?
Well, I really don't think I'm suited to living in the sewers. So, no disrespect to y'all. It is not my cup of tea.
We live in the sewers out of necessity, not because we wish to.
I realize that. I really do. And once again, I did not mean any disrespect by that. And I deeply apologize if I actually did offend you with that comment. And she is genuine about that. But and she'll say, and I figured like sewers are dark and mysterious. I'm gonna be, and she'll kind of gesture to her general appearance, looking like this for forever. Might as well lean into that whole like gothic type of creepy stuff and thought, well, I could, I guess, get a day job, which I can't actually do because the sun is a deadly laser, but I could get a day job, which I can't do, and I really don't want to. And I'm already a bit of a natural performer. Like I've been doing some sort of performance my whole life. I figured might as well open that up to the online perspective.
You tend to go on, don't you?
I have been told that I can ramble sometimes.
She gives you a lopsided grin.
She'll just kind of shrug and say, part of the charm, I guess.
So you have not been cast out of your order then?
She'll kind of like tense her bottom lip and like and do that kind of I haven't, but I I'm not really sure what's gonna happen there now that we're all a little more scattered, if you're catching my drift.
So you're looking for a new order to call home?
She'll glance kind of to where the driver is and then just kind of glance back to the Jade Lady and say, I'm not really sure. I'm just trying to get through tonight.
It may be worth considering whether to find a new home or whether to commit to your current one, and to make that consideration quickly. Times of conflict give little time for consideration or hesitation.
And I have a lot of doors that have been closed to me because of my family. Now, that's not a bad thing. It's just the truth of the matter is
Your family?
Joshua, I mean, he's a very public figure in our society, and being his child has definitely definitely helped modify my first impression or people's first impressions of me.
She straightens up a little bit and looks at you rather curiously.
Charlie will straighten up a little too, but more in like a defensive action, and say that whole bit where he got hunted, and then like, I know you're not up on the surface as much as I am, but I, Lord, I can barely introduce myself places without, oh, you're Joshua's kid. Yeah, I kind of don't like that guy.
You do share his aesthetic, although you do not appear very much alike.
I mean, yeah, we look different. He's definitely got that whole vintage thing going on.
No, I mean, he was very forward, assertive, aggressive. You share his sense of assertion, but you seem to possess a softer touch.
My mom always taught me you can always take kindness back. But if you aren't kind first, then no one's going to believe you can be.
Family relationships seem complicated on both sides of the masquerade.
I I take it you aren't really in contact with your family much anymore.
I never knew my sire, and my mortal family has thankfully long since moved on.
Well,
Is that the
what
this
about the
again? Is that the grid of just emptiness or sort of tiredness in the voice? She mentions mortals and family and humans.
it's clearly another side of possession. Um,
Well, the owls are not known for their capacity to care.
uh, Charlie will give another small shrug and kind of just start fiddling with her clothes and all, and go like, basically she's just kind of trying to, like, if she sees like a spot of sewer grime on her boots or something, she's trying to like kind of rub that off, and she'll say, I mean, yeah, the revenants were kind of like a family, I guess. I don't know if you considered them as much.
I did. She doesn't continue or elaborate.
You know what, I'm catching her drift. Well, if we make it out of this all in one piece, I guess there's an opportunity to explore new avenues or fix whatever happened down there. Families fight all the time, like, and she'll kind of like, you just kind of saw me get into a small squabble with part of my family. Sorry to drag you into that.
It is no trouble. I owe you much for saving my life.
Really not the one you should owe that to. I dragged you away. I'm a lot faster than the others were, but at the end of the day, if it had just been me, that probably would have gone a lot differently.
Ultimately, you are the one that remained with me and escorted me away from my former family.
People do stupid things when they're scared. And sometimes they do things that hurt the ones that care about. And it's not malicious, it's just they're scared and they can't think of anything better. I've definitely been there and I've definitely done that.
Stanford could use a woman like you, I think.
I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that.
I think you're going to find out. The car begins to, or the van, sorry, begins to, it's been slowing down for a couple minutes now, but it finally feels as if you're probably in some sort of parking area as it begins to slow down, so about 5 miles an hour. As it finds a place to park. When it eventually comes to a stop and the van, the driver exits the vehicle, you hear them walk around. The Jade Lady will sit up and, she'll stand up and will approach you briefly.
You said the Jade Lady would?
Mm-hmm.
Charlie will just kind of like stand there. Like once again, she's very defensive right now. I guess. Are we waiting out here and then being invited in, or are we just all waltzing in?
Suppose we're going to find out.
All right then. Okay. Yep.
She stands by you. Her eyes do not leave your person.
I guess it is of note, like, Charlie is armed right now. Like, she doesn't have anything in her hands, but she did bring, like, the revolver and the knife with her to the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know if I need to roll because, like, she was wearing baggier clothes to try to, like, hide that.
Well, it is not obvious that you're around.
Yeah, just if the Jade Lady is looking closely, that is something of note. Yeah, Charlie's just kind of looking around, totally not scoping out escape routes.
Well, the doors to the back of the van will open. Um, as soon as it does, you see your driver accompanied by 3 other kindred that are substantially more well dressed than her. They look unarmed, then, kindred are rarely ever unarmed just due to their strength and their ability to morph their hands into hideous claws.
Mm-hmm.
But the driver will just look at you and say, "All right, we're here." Just out of the van.
Thank you for the ride.
Don't worry about it.
Charlie will wait for the Jade Lady to go out first.
And there is that brief pause when your gaze sort of meets hers, as she sort of has not had her eyes off you.
Really, if I have something on my face or in my hair or something, I'd rather get it out now.
She gives a long, wispy sigh, and she'll just step out of the van.
I feel bad. I will follow her.
Thank you. What's your name?
You can call me Charlie.
Charlie the...
I guess Charlie Barnett's is the full name, if you're feeling formal.
Charlie the Venture, Charlie the David, Charlie the Gangrel, Charlie the what? Not Nosferatu, unless you're Thrash.
Oh, wow. I do not know how I missed that. Sorry. Clan Deva.
Deva, alright.
And she'll give a lovely smile, albeit covered in sewer grime.
You still have striking looks too, so you're still pretty. But she gives you that sort of dozy, half paying attention look.
Mm-hmm.
It's, she'll gesture to the front of her. All right, this way. You are, when you look around, you appear to, from the looks of things, you're in the middle of a car park, but you appear to be on a university campus.
Would I be able to pick out which one?
Yeah, you look around, there are signs. This is Brunel University.
Okay.
It's all the way in Hillingdon, on the western edge of London.
I'm assuming Carthian territory.
Hillingdon is hardcore Carthian territory. It's about as far back as they can go. This is home country for them.
Okay. How on edge does everyone seem to be? Is it like okay, there's 2 new people, we're watching them very closely, or is it kind of a more casual thing?
The 3 kindred, your driver doesn't look too on edge, but the other 3 kindred look extremely on edge. You can see those twitchy fingers. They appear ready to mow both of you down at the slightest provocation.
Noted. I will do my best to seem as non-threatening as possible.
How's that working out for you?
I mean, I'm covered in sewer grime.
That's a start, I guess.
I guess that's what I got going for me.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I'm walking with an owl. So that's also a thing that is happening. So I feel like we're pretty even, right? Right? Those even each other out.
Your driver and one kid should flank you on one side, and then the other two flank you and the Jade Lady on the other.
Okay.
They keep you moving at an even pace. On edge, though they might be, they are not brutal, they're not cruel, they're not, they don't shove you along, or they don't attack you or assail you in any way.
Mm-hmm.
They guide you along the, university grounds. Into one of the main campus buildings. It's quite a nice looking place, actually.
I'm just gonna quietly follow along, occasionally looking to the Jade Lady, occasionally looking at everybody else.
You move past some computer rooms, reception desk, one of the scientific classrooms, or scientific course rooms. Head up a spiral staircase. That takes you up a floor. And they take you to what appears to be a council room, a conference room. Fairly large room. Big circular table in the middle.
Can I tell if they locked the door behind me?
When you enter, the driver and one of the escorts will stay in the room with you, and the other two remain outside. You do hear the door lock. There's a short snapping sound.
Okay, Charlie will do kind of a quick scan of the room, basically looking for windows, like, okay, how many windows are there? What floor are we on? Are there any other like exits?
Yeah, there are windows. Kind of all the way at the end of the room. And there is, standing at the front of the main conference table, this gentleman. Gives off a predatory aura. Fairly handsome looking, has a three-piece suit on.
Any blood sympathy?
You sense nothing from him, which means either he is of a very distant relation and is of your clan, but you can't sense it, or he's just not of your clan.
Okay.
I do just need to be up here for a few seconds.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick then.
I have returned.
Hello.
Hello.
It's been like almost an hour and I haven't died yet. This is way better than I thought the scene would go.
Clearly I'm doing something wrong.
No.
Roll initiative.
Please, God, no.
That's fine. Gentleman looks at you.
I look at
You know
him.
who this is.
I think I do. I've just never actually met him, but I've definitely seen him.
No, he looks at you, and there is a glint of recognition as he sort of gives you a once-over. You were at the Elysium, weren't you?
Yes. You were also at the Elysium.
When Verve led a death squad to it.
I'm aware. I was there for that. Y'all are very effective at what you do.
You have my thanks for what you did that night.
Well, you're welcome.
Apologies, I'm Jason Stanford. I'm the speaker for the Carthian movement.
Charlie Barnett. I'm just here. No particular bells or whistles to the name.
Pleasure to meet you, Charlie. Or do you prefer Miss Barnett?
What was that? Sorry, one more time.
He says, pleasure to meet you, Charlie, or would you prefer Miss Barnett?
Oh, 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Charlie it is.
I guess you know why we're here already?
He looks at the Jade Lady, who has her eyes somewhat towards the ground. Do you want to make me another wits empathy roll?
Okay. I'm gonna go to Dice Roller 2. One success!
Okay. Her demeanor is very different around Stanford. It is she maintains a degree of social grace, but you can definitely tell the way she's stood through her body language that there is a degree of nervousness, anxiety there.
I will put like a reassuring hand on her shoulder.
Would you mind showing me your eyes? He says to her. Reassured by your support, she will just... She shows him, and I am not what you think I am. Please. He looks at her for a few moments. The knuckle of one of his fingers touching his chin. But then he'll just turn to you and he'll ask, "Can you tell me what happened?"
Well, so a group of us were in the sewers. That's a whole nother deal as to why, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We were in the sewers, and turns out that the revenants have had a bit of a civil dispute, and that some Nosferatu, who apparently knows Izzy, was there pulling owls out of people. Are y'all fine with like saying that, or do we need to find like a whole nother word? It seems like every other person's different about that. Either way.
I haven't uttered a V word. Who's Izzy?
Dr. Isabel Moreau.
I've heard of her.
She's a friend. She's a good person. I think you'd like her. Well, I don't actually know you. I don't know if you'd like her or not, but I like her. And either way, back to what we're doing. There was a civil dispute because this real nasty looking Nosferatu had just started pulling owls out of people. And then this apparently happened about a night or so ago, as she'll gesture to the Jade Lady. And so she was being hunting like a dog, which is completely unpleasant, let me tell you that. And then we got her out, and this brings us to current events. I mean, we were in the car for a little bit, but that's just kind of, we were in a car. So either way, she's like this, and we were kind of hoping that y'all had somebody on retainer that could maybe deal with it, because anybody else we could talk to either hates my guts, hates all of our guts, or would just kill her on the spot.
There was another man there as well, and another woman. Both were former revenants, Damien and Jenna Jameson. Stanthorpe, for whatever reason, appears to smile at your candor, Charlie. Your particular flavor for regaling the tale. But it does not come across as particularly threatening or malicious. In fact, Cromwell, what's empathy again, if you like?
Sure. almost did it wrong. 1 success.
He appears to be someone who does not carry the blemishes of kindred age. His body appears to be relatively animated for an elder's, and he retains the general pallor of a living mortal, albeit still ever so slightly sickly.
All right, then.
Thank you. They think I am one of them, and it was the Nosferatu who pointed them at me, and I think they're going to be used to attack either you or the Invictus or someone, and I cannot watch those whom I call my family be used like that, or die like that, or worse. Please help me. And she even gets on her knees when she says that, as in literally as if she were on the street begging for a dime. Something that very noticeably causes some manner of distress in Stanford. He's clearly perturbed by the motion, by the gesture. How does Charlie react to it?
Charlie will. She's really not expecting it. Like, to be completely honest, she's been very convinced. Okay, this is an owl. Like, it's probably an owl, probably faking everything. We're all probably gonna die. And then like this happens, and she's kind of having like this moment of, no, like even an owl like doing this to get like means wouldn't go this low, and she'll kind of like put like,
long con.
huh?
It's the long con.
Probably. You're right, it probably is, but it still doesn't help the fact that somebody is literally begging, and she is a good bean.
Yes.
So she will kind of like, she'll get down with the Jade Lady, not necessarily like on her knees, but like kneeling or like, so like not necessarily the begging posture, but just kind of like down on her level, and she'll look up Stanford and say, this really ain't gonna be good for any of us if something can't be done about it, and you're kind of the only one we can turn to right now.
Do you know? Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Stand it up.
He will put a hand on on the Jade Lady's shoulder, and he will say, "We will figure out what happened, and we will find a way to help you and your kin, as I promised. It is... but it is not safe for you here. As long as you appear the way you do. I will need you to remain under surveillance for a few nights. If you would please follow the escort, they will take care of you until you recover from your condition." And she has a mixed look of a very mixed expression on her face, one that sort of exudes a combination of relief but anxiety and a bit of fear as well.
Can I wits plus empathy this dude to figure out like what his intentions are once she's kind of wherever?
Yes, you can attempt to read his intentions. Wits plus empathy. He is there is no contested roll.
1 success. Dice roller 2 is my friend.
Just you wait. He appears reassuring, and there is nothing to suggest that he is being dishonest. There is no... He does not come across as slick or slimy or deceitful. There is not a hint of foreboding or knowing or want or hate or fear in his voice. In fact, he appears quite certain in what he is saying.
Where are you gonna put her up?
I'm afraid I cannot give you that information, but I would like to speak with you further if you wouldn't mind.
Charlie will take like a napkin or something. Or wait, she's famous. She has like paper and like a Sharpie because she's used to having to sign autographs. So she'll take kind of like a piece of paper and like the Sharpie out and just kind of like write her number down and give it to the Jade Lady and say, and she'll do like, she's not trying to be stealthy. She's just going to say, y'all can take that from her if you want to, but I'd really prefer to have a form of contact.
There will be those that will be able to communicate between you two on her behalf. I am happy to talk this through with you.
All right.
Jade Lady gives a very deep bow and simply says, "Thank you," and begins leaving with the escort. The driver stays, but the other 3 kindred that were there to escort you to Stanford, they go. The one inside the conference room leaves. You can see the other 2 begin to escort her. Escort the Jade Lady down the hall as the door is shut once more. The door was not locked this time. Oh god, that was the wrong one. But Stanford will take a seat at one of the chairs at the conference table, and he will pull one out for you.
Thank you. And she'll take a seat. So now that all that's taken care of, be honest, what are you planning to do with her?
Exactly as I said. To keep her safe and isolated until her condition improves. I do not believe she is one of them. In fact, I am certain of it.
What makes you think that?
I have developed many. And you do note he does correct himself quite firmly there.
Charlie will cock her head to the side.
Developed many abilities during my time as a kindred.
Oh, have you?
If you know what questions to ask, your blood, sometimes it will give you an answer.
That's very fascinating. I'm hoping to be able to hone my own ability to question my blood.
Well, if you can convince someone to teach you, I would recommend it as something worth learning. I myself am not particularly skilled in the art of it, but I know enough that I'm skilled at tempting out an answer from a person.
I'm so happy that you have that ability. That's really great for you. I'm really glad you can do that.
Don't sound very happy.
I'm covered in sewergram and have not had more than a week in the past month and a half that I've been in London where somebody hasn't been actively trying to kill me.
You have come at an extremely dangerous time.
She'll nod. Say, I realized that. I did not realize that would be the case when I decided to show up, but it is. We are here, and I'm not going anywhere, so we're dealing with it.
Many kindred who would have seen those eyes would have destroyed Jade on the spot. Why did you decide to help her, if I may ask?
I've been where she's been. I know how it feels to have everybody look at you, to have your family look at you and think you're a monster. And I I don't think I don't know if she is one or not, but I knew when I was keeping my eyes to the ground that I would have given anything for just one person to believe that I wasn't what they thought I was.
It was an extremely compassionate decision for you to make. I say that with all the praise that it is due, which is unfortunately not enough, it seems, in our society. Something I hope in time we can change.
I'm not sure how much that's going to be changing you. Well, y'all definitely made your choice at the Elysium.
It is not the choice I would have made. War, yes. The crimes that have been brought to us. But Elysium was not the place for it.
Well, it happened. And that's what people are going to start thinking the Carthians stand for. Even if you don't agree with it, that's the persona y'all are projecting forward.
But neither can I ignore the will of the many. Then I would be no different than an Invictus prince.
I'm not here to criticize what y'all have done. I'm not here to defend it or to pretend and hop on that soapbox and pretend I'm holier than thou or whatever. I'm just stating a fact. I know what I saw there and I know what I'm hearing now, but it doesn't change the fact that the war is happening and that it's bloody and it's gonna get uglier.
It will,
And if you
but I
want
hope
to,
it won't.
hope isn't a plan. As much as I wish it was, and as much as I hope for things to get better, and I hope we don't have to be like this, it
I had a plan, but it was turned down.
sounds like you're caught in an awful lot of red tape.
I would rather be accountable than not at all. I have seen what becomes of those who are never held accountable and what they do.
And are y'all gonna hold yourselves accountable once this is all said and done, or are y'all gonna chalk it up to it's war and war is just like this?
I would seek to mend bridges once this is all over.
I hope there's still enough of a foundation for you to do that.
And you succeeded at an empathy check on him, so you can tell what he says. The steadiness in his voice belies the greater conflict that he has presented to you within himself. This is clearly something he has massive doubts on, both regarding himself and the Carthians.
Charlie will kind of lean back in the chair and go, if you're just wanting to sit me down and talk Carthian politics,
No, I wish to offer you. Well, first I wish to thank you for what you did. Secondly, I wish to offer you something in return for your assistance. The Jade Lady and I are. We are good friends. We have been for almost as long as she has been a revenant.
then why didn't you know about what was happening in sewers with all the owls getting ripped out of people? If y'all are such good friends, I'd imagine you would have kept in contact.
We have, and I have heard of this. The one that came to her burrow. She speaks the truth, but none of it makes sense. I do not know if this is a ploy from some other power or if a new power has entered play. I did not at the time believe she would be so quickly or in any fashion threatened by her own kin. They have always been loyal to her. I was aware of the owls, and we had sent some of our own down to make sure, but we are poorly equipped for these things.
What do you need to be better equipped?
Jade is case in point in how we stereotypically identify these creatures can be wrong or fallacious or false. That there is really no reliable means of determining a kindred from Strix.
Apparently, they can't pass through fire, but I doubt you're wanting every single kindred with funky eyes to be doing that to themselves. It's not particularly pleasant.
They take on hosts because it protects them from such weaknesses. That is the only true way to determine, well, one of two.
What's the
One
other?
is to possess the ability that I and many other kindred do. Even this is not entirely foolproof, but it is reliable for the most part. It is not so easily deceived.
Oh, are you
So
one of
easily
them? And she'll kind of like tap her fingers, go, oh, I can't remember, but y'all do like the, and she'll like point her head and do, and y'all are like the, God, it's like the lady at the art. Y'all see things.
I am not Mekat, although I do possess their abilities to a minor extent.
Oh,
I am in fact a Ventrue.
that would have been my second guess.
I suppose the suit gave it away.
A little bit.
No, I'm no Mekat, although by virtue of age and perhaps more appropriately luck, I have developed a great many abilities that have prepared me for some of these situations, though not all of them. But that is a way to identify them. The other is to simply have the suspect thrown into the sunlight. A kindred that does not burn during the day is a Strix. Of course, I don't need to tell you the consequences of, well, what I just stated.
It's a witch hunt.
Yes. And clearly they possess the capacity to deceive our senses, turning the very fear they generate in us against us in even more potent fashion than I would have otherwise imagined. I expected them to turn our paranoia in on ourselves. I did not expect them to have the power to do so easily.
Yeah, it really doesn't take much for them to sink their claws in.
They are the masquerade within the masquerade. We are paranoid creatures by by birth. To know that there are those within our ranks who might not be who they say they are, I suppose that only makes it worse. But you did not give in to fear, and I find that very commendable in you.
I've given into plenty of fear. I guess, just went out on a limb with her.
Trust is very rare within our society.
I've realized that.
I know it will sound patronizing for me to call such a thing a virtue, but it is.
She'll shrug and say, seems to me virtues and vices aren't really all that important anymore.
They are to me.
Can I ask you a little more of a personal question then?
Of course.
How do you keep that up? Isn't it? I've only been involved in this not even a year, and I'm already so exhausted, and I try so hard, but I just how do you keep that up? Is it just you're stubborn or something, or do you actually have a method?
A method, I would not say I have a method. Stubbornness, perhaps, as you say, perhaps closer to obsession. You have to cling for it and search for it every night. The moment you let go, you'll never stop falling. There always has to be something. But you are right, it is tiring, and it will never not be tiring. And it will require you to put yourself at risk. Our society is based in pragmatism, acting for ourselves and nothing else. To act with a conscience stands in direct contrast to that. And you will be scorned for it. But it is worth the price in the end. At least I believe so.
Is it worth it right now?
I had hoped the Carthians would have understood me perhaps a little bit more. Perhaps I could have been more persuasive. But I do still hold the power to restrain them if they go too far. He said, again, you succeeded on your empathy check. So he says that. That is something he is not so sure of. It's very much a statement where it should have ended with, I think. Is there anything I can do for you? You have put yourself at immense risk.
I could really use with a couch to crash on.
May I ask what your living situation is? You are Joshua's child, no? He is a wealthy man.
Charlie will kind of like open her mouth and close it and like think about what she wants to say and then open it again and then do the same thing. Like she's like, no, that's not accurate. And eventually she'll go, Joshua is definitely a man of wealth and he has been very generous in everything he's done. And I'm not ungrateful. I never want that to be the impression that I give. Because I am. He's done a lot for me and I'll recognize that. It's just sometimes, well, I I just it's not safe and it's not when when I joined the circus, I wanted to be a performer. I don't know if you've ever like done a performance or like really been involved in art or anything, but there is a certain exhilaration and a certain light and laugh that you bring to a performance, and being able to do that really is something that's almost addictive. It's absolutely wonderful, and if I could do that for the rest of my life, then I would. But that's not what the circus is anymore, and I don't think I can bring myself to stay there right now. And it breaks my heart because I they're like my family, but I don't know, maybe this is me starting to give up a little, but fact of the matter is Joshua's got his death certificate signed and I can't do anything to stop that.
That statement seems to resonate with him in a way that he doesn't like.
I mean, she looks genuinely like distraught and upset about this.
No, for whatever reason, your statement unsettles him. Perhaps a myriad of reasons. He didn't state them. He steeples his fingers together. What do you wish to do now? And again, with the empathy check, you know that's sort of an attempt to
I'll take it.
change the subject, but also because he has an offer to make you.
I'll take a change of subject. Uh
He does put his hand on your shoulder, like to reassure you.
she'll kind of shrug and say, I don't know. Once again, I'm always going to be a performer. It's just I guess what I was meant to do. So I'm trying to figure out a way to do that, but I don't know. Things are real different right now. I thought about starting up a YouTube channel. Figure it would give enough fluidity and enough control to not particularly have to worry about Vamp getting in the way of my career. But right now, once again, I'm just looking for a place to sleep where I don't have to worry about the Invictus and the Ordo now busting down our door again. And there's really not a lot of places I can go.
Hmm. Well then, at the very least, I can provide you with that.
I'd I'd appreciate it. I'd also appreciate if we kept a little quieter about the change in residence. I don't particularly want somebody
I have,
trying to bust down my door for whatever reason.
I have no intention of telling anybody of your change in residence, given the current state of affairs.
Once again, I really appreciate that.
And perhaps that, and well, I suppose depending on the path you wish to take, you are. We have venues if you'd like to perform. Not the best time for them, I know, but perhaps it will provide some sanctuary to yourself and others.
Sorry?
Ah, maybe not right now. I
Understand.
I feel like it wouldn't be incredibly wise for me to be getting on a stage in your side of town. Might create a bit of a easy opportunity for something bad to happen.
Are you also sanctified? If I may
I
ask, of course.
she'll she'll hesitate before nodding a little.
You seem uncertain.
It's well, you should know everything's more complicated than it seems.
Yes, I hardly blame you for your uncertainty.
Why do you ask?
Nominally, the Sanctified and the Carthians are allies right now, although. So it would be no surprise to see performing on our side of town. Although, I will not lie, I do fear for the Sanctified's existence within the domain. We did not expect them to strike southward. That was not agreed upon. And it has, well...
It's created ripples. Definitely has.
Would you believe me if I said I would have arranged for an alliance between the Crone and the Sanctified, or at the very least a ceasefire?
I believe it wouldn't have much of an effect.
Before all of this, the Crone and the Carthians are on very good terms.
It's not
When-
you. That's the issue. It's I know the Sanctified, and I know this had nothing to do with you or with the Carthians. This is their own personal crusade. And if they believe it's righteous, then more power to them. But and she'll just kind of shrug and say, "I don't know. They've definitely made their choices, and this isn't out of character for them, for us, I guess."
It seemed to sadden him somewhat. I suppose you are right. I suppose you are right. But of all of them, I am glad to have met yourself.
I appreciate that. I do try my best to make a good impression when I can.
If you find yourself in dire straits or simply require a favor, call this number, which he'll present to you, and I will do my best to assist you.
That's very kind of you.
Kindness for a kindness. It is how the world should be.
I'd be inclined to agree.
Do you have any place to stay for tonight? Not to offend, but the way you have spoken seems to imply that you currently lack a haven to call your own.
You know, on an out of character level, I don't actually know the answer to that.
Does she have any dots in haven or safe place?
No.
Has she any dots in resources?
No.
Do you personally think she has a haven left?
No.
Then she's probably homeless. Well, then she's definitely homeless. In theory, you don't need merits to have a haven, but
In
she's
theory, she
homeless,
probably
then...
stole the van and then sleeping in the back of it.
Oh dear.
Look, she had it at the Elysium. She just forgot to bring it back. Well, I was crashing in the van, but Izzy and Damien kind of took that, so I'd probably have to find the van again.
Okay. Well. Then would you be amenable if I arranged for perhaps a more upscale place for you just
That'd be very nice. I could really use a shower.
I agree. He says bluntly.
No, she does start laughing at that.
Then would you mind following me?
She'll follow?
It will be a short car ride. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, no, that's no trouble.
Okay. He goes on his phone and he begins making a text of sorts. His phone gives him an audible response very quickly for the span of about 10 seconds. And he'll lead you downstairs. Before he does so, as he approaches the exit, my apologies. I'm not sure if, knowing her, I don't believe you've been introduced. Charlie, this is Shalzaka. She is, well, she is of a movement, but she is one of my most capable aides.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yep. It's a pleasure. I'll see you both round, probably.
Hopefully. The alternative's a little unfortunate.
If you're anything like him,
I'm assuming
you're get into trouble.
I'm assuming you're referring to Joshua.
No, she nudges her head sort of towards Stanford. But him too. I've heard of him.
I'm so glad to know I'm not the only kindred in the city with a nose for trouble. And she'll kind of smile a little up at Stainforth.
He how does he react? I'm trying to give you the gesture. He's a little bit like the John Travolta meme where he sort of gesticulates with his hands a little bit, like, why are you doing like this? He raises his eyebrow and just tilts his head with this sort of really look. Well, I suppose if you were wrong, you wouldn't be here.
I did
Yes,
go into the sewers to go gator hunting.
Gator? Alligators in the goddamn sewer.
I realize this now.
There's plenty of fucked up things down there. Gators are not one of them.
I realize this now. But at the time, it seemed like a better idea.
You wouldn't believe some of the things I've seen down there.
I mean, we found a dog.
There's dozens of dogs down there. Hundreds.
It was a really cute dog.
There's plenty of them. Doesn't stop them from getting chomped on.
Charlie just kind of like makes a bit of a face. Like she doesn't say anything, but she does make a face. That's very clearly like, I know, but you don't have to point it out.
Hey, count yourself lucky you didn't run into one of the furballs down there.
The what?
Never mind. It was good to see you. I'd ask both of you to stay out of trouble, but you're not going to. So
Why don't you stay out of trouble for us then?
I do. It doesn't change the fact that you're both going to get into trouble. I'm going to have to bail your asses out, but that's fine. I'll take a drag at a cigarette. I'll see you around. She just walks out. She means well.
You clearly have a bit of a reputation.
I have a complicated history with London.
I take it you've been here a while then?
Long time. But not so front and center. Not until recently. He says he's just walking down the stairs with you. Whole corridors empty, there's no janitors, there's no nothing, anything on other lights.
Spotlight can get exhausting. Are you enjoying it for the time being, though?
I have never enjoyed it. Rather, I felt fat. Something simply needed to change. And, well, as we love to say, be the change you wish to see. So I am now in this position.
What made you change?
I think it is less that I wish to change and more that I do not wish to be what I have seen others become.
Still,
And what they think of the world.
sounds to me like you've seen quite a bit of displays like the one at that Elysium.
The only thing He actually looks a bit sober for a second and looks quite serious. The only thing worse than watching someone the only thing worse than descending into hatred and apathy is to watch it happen to somebody else.
Is that what happened? You lost someone to it?
I've lost many to it, but it had happened long before I was made. Which, Charlie, you know, is a pretty interesting statement because this guy is known to be an elder. So to speak of history in such to speak in such long form is curious.
She'll kind of cock an eyebrow and go, I know it's rude to ask somebody their age, but what type of scale are you exactly working on?
I am of, I suppose, moderate age among our kind. I am just over 300 years old. I've spent a short time in torpor. I spent a few decades out of the limelight. But not too long.
Right. That's not long at all. You don't look a day over 100.
Oh, I'd hope not. I believe that's a very specific group of Deva.
Yeah. She's like absolutely she heard 300 is like, oh wow, shit, that's wow. She's just absolutely taken aback.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was referring to a specific branch of your family. Never mind. I have, well, it may surprise you, but most of us who of age at least make the attempt to keep up with the times. It takes us surprisingly little time to adapt, although I've never really had to go through the process myself. My time in torpor was so short. In fact, it was back when I was but an ancile. Not voluntary.
It seems that a lot of people are given naps when they reach a certain age.
It is in our interest to do so. Those who refuse the sleep of ages, they lose much of themselves, more of themselves than if they were to simply rest. Eventually, it can drive even the strongest mind to madness. I do not wish to besmirch your sect and its leaders, but personally, I do consider your Archbishop a prime example of this.
I was just about to mention him. It is another area of concern that the sect is currently headed by such an individual. I worry about what he's lost and what he's given up to gain what he has.
More to cling to, from what I hear. You will, as you kind of walk down, just point you out of the building, and you are walking over to a very nice-looking car. It's It's nothing particularly. It's not. It's not. How to say? It's not. It's not ostentatious. It's um. It's not a. It's not a Rolls Royce or anything, but it is. It is very much a luxury car. But he will open one of the doors for you and get in the other side.
As she steps in, she'll look up to him and say, "Keep the Jade Lady safe."
Of course. Not a hair upon her head.
All right.
He starts the vehicle. He kind of sighs when he says that though, and I had hoped to grant to enable that once this war ended, that we could work on, we could begin to uplift those who had been not truly sired. I do worry for the Revenants now.
This might be a more long-term goal, but I do happen to know of a certain individual who's supposed to come into a certain hospital and ownership of a certain hospital in relatively recently. I don't know exactly how that's gone through given recent events, but wouldn't be a bad place to try to start making sure they're at least getting fed more reliably.
Oh, what's Charlie talking about?
Uh,
Is-
that lady, I can't remember her name, but the one I drove home from Elysium.
Oh. I do know who you're talking about.
Yeah. This totally happened. I didn't just pull this out of my ass.
Well done.
Thank you. I remembered a thing.
You remember the thing. Good job. I do not know of this person, he says, as he begins to drive down the. He begins to drive to well, drive deeper into London.
I know an eclectic group of people comes with the job.
Well, the Revenants have generally been able to feed themselves quite well, or rather, they were until their numbers started spiking. Not the lesser of two evils. It is difficult. It is something one can only experience, and I hope no one ever has to experience it, but their condition is challenging in ways that we cannot understand.
I can imagine.
I'm sure there are, I am sure, Ordo and experts out there who could provide a more clinical explanation than I. All I know is that their existences are extremely difficult. And I fear that they will only become more difficult with this Nosferatu.
All the more reason to start trying to take precautions for us to be more of an active benefactor in their lives.
Hmm. The Jade Lady, she had promised her Barra's assistance in the coming conflict. Full representation. And eventual uplifting. She used to be the true leader of Revenants. I suppose you could call her a prince in a way. But, well, several additional boroughs have arisen. I can only wonder if the Nosferatu is involved in those as well.
I'm really not sure.
But tell me of this YouTube channel. How on earth are you going to earn an income off of
Okay.
YouTube?
So, I know it's like still kind of new, but follow me here. YouTube has ads. And then like if you're popular enough, you get ad revenue.
It's a video hosting platform, correct?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like I'm already real good at people.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure I was gonna like keep with that dark and spooky theme that I kind of got going on because of this whole get up. And I was gonna go cryptid hunting.
What? I certainly hope that's not you're not implying you're going to breach the masquerade.
No. Like, that's the bit. That's the part. Like, there's no way all of this is real. So, like, you find the stuff that isn't. Look, it's not a live stream or something. If anything weird comes up, I can just edit it out.
Can I just say that Charlie is every late 2000s teenager?
Yes, she is.
My lord.
Oh, it's almost like she's played by like a late 2000s, early 2010s person who was a teenager. I wonder where that particular bit of characterization comes from.
Nobody knows. I don't see how you're going to, well, an income off of this, but then we rarely have to pay for mortal expenses. I suppose you could get by on it. Mortal couldn't.
I mean, at worst comes to worst, I don't know, I can start teaching dance lessons at a community college or something.
You know, Jean-Arc was looking to get into Cotillion.
You know, it is definitely an experience I had, and I'm very grateful for it. You learn a lot of good stuff. But it's also a lot. It really is a lot. You know, like they teach you everything from like how to sit, because you can't cross your legs one way, but you got to cross your ankles a certain way, and you got to like position your knees to face the person you're talking to. But then if you talk to a different person, you got to switch your whole position.
You seem well versed. I should send him your way.
Oh no, that was like my whole thing. You should have seen me like 10 years ago. I did the whole debutante ball and everything. My parents like presented me to society, white dress, everything.
He's nodding as if he already knows us.
But yeah, I guess that's another way to get by. I just I'd like to have something that's a little more of a creative outlet.
Of course. Well, I wish you luck in any case. He says, as he actually, at this point, you begin to park on next to a fairly upscale sort of apartment. You are in, you know precisely where you're going. You basically went through Hillingdon into Hammersmith and Fulham, which is still within Carthian territory.
Wow, this is a lot nicer than I was expecting.
Well, when your centuries to build up your savings account, what can I say?
If you let me know the expenses, I can pay you back once I start getting some more liquid assets.
Consider this a kindness for a kindness.
Are there a lot of us in here?
No neighbors.
Well then.
He will present you with a digital key, electronic key, and the actual number code you'll need to enter the apartment complex.
Hell yeah, I'm not homeless.
Hell yeah, you're not homeless. You will say, but I suppose I should get out of your hair and allow you to get used to your new haven. So, but if you ever require anything, feel free to call on me. There is a spare. There is a spare key inside the apartment. Should you need it.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. This was a good night.
Well, I only got attacked by one group of people, so yeah. It's a real good night.
Well, hopefully you can go a few more without being attacked.
As long as I can walk away from them, it's okay. And I guess she'll go inside the building and wave wave goodnight.
You'll wave good night, and he looks at you with a degree of, I know this feel. I understand you. But he'll wave you good night, and he will begin to make his way back to wherever it is that he needs to go.
Charlie, I guess as she is a little more settled in and finally bathed, will send Isabel and Damien a text that's just like, I didn't die. I'm safe. Please don't call the cops.
Also, I'm not homeless anymore.
Also, I'm not living in the van anymore. Can you please drop off my fire axe? No, the fire axe is hers now.
Oh, Christ almighty. The apartment you're in is, I mean, it's an apartment in Hammersmith and Fulham, which is fairly upscale. This is an apartment on a high rise. This is straight up a borderline penthouse suite. Is how pretty and luxurious this apartment is.
Gosh, this is so nice.
Yeah.
She'll do the whole ass thing where she opens the windows and like gets a really good view, and then realizes, shit, I can't forget to leave these open, and then he'll close them.
You gotta, get the cool summer breeze coming. It's there's a whole entertainment system set up, mate. It's just like a very, very comfortable place to be living and secure. State-of-the-art security.
Hell yeah. I guess she'll just settle in. Not homeless.
And a scene that turned out far better for Charlie than she perhaps thought it would, as she perhaps gets the first good day's sleep that she's had in, well, weeks.
Will this scene count for social chameleon for willpower?
I will say yes.
God, I've had so much willpower. This is great.
And I think on that celebratory moment, that is where I shall end the scene.
Oh
Thank you,
yeah.
player for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Hell yeah. Good night.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.